And so I'm using, we're gonna start the easiest one to make real quick is the spinnaker halyard. So I'm using Kingfisher ropes, Evolution Breeze. So it's a polyester and Technora blended cover, and it actually just has a polyester core in it. So yeah, but it's super grippy stuff. So we're gonna give this a whirl, see how this works for the spinnaker halyard. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do, because you got the Technora in the cover, and if you look, if you try and melt it, it kind of like laughs at you when it's being melted. It kind of doesn't do anything because there's nothing there to melt because it's Technora, and Technora is fireproof. So what I do is I'm just gonna make like a little tiny Flemish eye. So I'm gonna take the strands and I'm just pulling them apart a little bit here at the end, and I'm just gonna cut away half of them just like that, and take my little seizing wire fid. And so I took out about like whatever that is, 4 inches of the core out, cut that, and now I'm gonna just put this guy in where the core ends, just for like an inch or so here, pop it out, and then got an audience with crows today, it sounds like. And then you just pull this guy through, boom, like that. And so you got a couple options here. You can pull this all the way in and it'll just suck that eye in, or I can leave the little eye in there. Use my little fid here. We can leave the eye in there, and then whip this, and so now I've got a reeving eye or a Flemish eye, and so that's what we're gonna do. And I'm just going to take my whipping twine, let me get this out of there, and I just pull it through like I always do with all my whippings or whatever. So I just melt the tails like that, pull it, knock it down. So now that's good and secure, better than a knot, because you can undo it pretty easily if need be, but it holds permanently as well. So now I'm just gonna do a quick little lock stitch in there. So I'm not doing a proper whipping because I want to keep this as narrow as possible so it'll get through all my sheave boxes. So yeah, and then cut that off, that little bit off. Can you see it? You can just see it right there. And then I just melt that part, boom. So now we got a nice strong Flemish eye that I can attach the tagline that I put in the mast. So that's it for the spinnaker halyard. So this thing is 56 feet 6 inches finished. That's just the number that I've gotten to over the years that I've got in my database for my boat. So yeah, and this is 4mm Evolution Breeze. All right. Gonna do a quick refresher on a single braid splice, because there's gonna be a ton of these for building all the stuff for this mast. So this is the jib halyard that we're gonna be splicing up right now, and then I've got to do a bunch on the topping lift, the external trap adjusters. Yeah, so there's gonna be a bunch of them. So I'll show you this one in regular format, and then the rest of them will be all time-lapse. But so I've got my bearing point, and I've bent this in half. This is some Kingfisher SK99 3mm Dyneema. So got it here. I'm gonna make a 1-inch eye, and this stuff's kind of stiff to work with, but it's also kind of nice. So about a 1-inch eye, push this guy's through, and this is a Brummel splice that we're doing. So pull that guy through like so, you got your loop, then I turn it like this, and then you're gonna make like a pretzel kind of thing. So right next to where it passes through there, you're gonna put this guy through, and you want to split the strands, so you got 6 on one side and 6 on the other. Pass that through with my nice little Samson fid, and then you're gonna pull this guy all the way through, so it inverts it, and it kind of makes like like a little hole. Oops, sorry, like a little hole right there. And what you're gonna do is now you're gonna put your fid in there, and you can take the hollow end of your fid and you can kind of jam it in there, and you're gonna actually try and pull that eye through, and it actually works better if you use like the next size up fid. But yeah, so now I pull it through, boom, and now it is locked. So that's a Brummel lock, and then you get about 60% of the break-in strength just by doing that, and then we're gonna get the rest of it, the last 40%, by doing a nice taper. So 72 rope diameter, so this thing's about like, what is it, about 10 inches or so? Yeah, about 10 inches is what we're gonna aim to bury. Okay, so we got our tail. And then what I'm gonna do is I kind of pick it apart. I split the strands in half. All right, cut away half the strands. And then you can take your piece of seizing wire or your splicing fid. This is what's handy to me right now. And you stick it in, I don't know, a couple inches past to where that berry is there. Put that guy in there. I just kind of loosen up the strands a little bit because this it's stiff because it's pre-stretched and heat set Dyneema. So it's a little stiff, so I just kind of open it up like that. It makes it easier to get your fid through. And now it's just a matter of passing this fid through the middle of the line because it's hollow. So it's really easy for rope manufacturers to make strong line, but it's hard for them to make strong line that is actually spliceable, because I've said in other videos, if you do your splice right, if it's done right, as I do it because I'm certified, you get 100% of the breaking strength of the rope. Whereas if you tie a knot in it like a bowline, best case scenario there, you get 50% of the breaking strength. All right, so I got that guy passed through and it's popping out right next to my Brummel lock. And now you take the Dyneema and I just kind of open up my piece of seizing wire, and you're gonna just take that and fold it over on itself. And so it essentially just makes it the same diameter by folding it back on itself. And like, some people tape it up if you want. I don't, because I charge by the hour. So then you just pull it through nicely like that. All right, so it's all scrunched up. And now you got 12 strands here. And so you wanna pick out your individual 12 strands. And you can sit there and I've had apprentices over the years that have taken a measuring tape and taken that distance and divided that distance up into 12 equal sections to get a nice perfectly even taper, or you can just eyeball it. Okay, so I got those guys all picked out like that. Take my sharp scissors and you just cut those nicely at an angle, and you just keep trimming away. And the better you do the taper, the stronger it's gonna be. Okay, nice smooth taper. Dyneema does not like hard edges. And then hold your eye, milk it down, bam, 100% of the breaking strength of this line. So there you go, that's your Brummel eye splice. Probably got about 30 more of them to go. So just for this, wrapping up this project. So yeah, all right, here we go. Okay, so here's our jib halyard. So it's just another Brummel splice on one end, and then I lark setted on this Wishard 1402 shackle, and so I lark set it on so that we don't lose the shackle, and then I use the 1402, even though it's a little heavy, but it's something we can rely on. The 1402 also is a captive pin, so we won't lose the pin. I don't know, I've seen other people do soft shackles, which I think works great, but I just want to stick with what's been working for me for years. And so we can always go soft shackle if we want, but yeah, no, this is what we're doing here. So splice to there, and then there's the eye splice on the other end. This connects right here to a hook for my Jib Cunningham, and then this red line is the tag line that goes inside the mast. And so yeah, so it gets pulled there, and then there's a ball at the end so that I don't lose the halyard out of the mast. So yeah, so that's the jib halyard. So it's probably hard to tell what I was making there. A couple of splices, a bunch of single braid splices, and some SK99 3mm Dyneema. And yeah, this is the external trapeze adjuster. All right, trapeze adjusters and trap wires are done. So yep, I just used some New England Ropes buzz line. It's nice and grippy when it's wet, and it holds really well in the cleat. So yeah, I've been using that for years. Happy with that. So we got that going on, and then down here at the bottom, I've got the sliding splice in here so that you can, you know, adjust your height a little bit more if need be to fine tune. And then up at the other end is just the 1-inch eye splice in the end that goes to the trap twings, external trap twings, to these little shackles. So yeah, so traps are done. This is the spinnaker pole topping lift. That turned out pretty sweet. Each tail splits to a little soft shackle, like soft attach like this. It'll open up like a soft shackle, and it goes over these little knots that are on the spinnaker pole. So it makes it nice and easy for quick detaching, de-rigging, rigging. Spinnaker halyard, jib halyard with its red tag line, and then yeah, this is the external trap twings. So, and the main halyard's already in the mast. So we are ready to assemble the mast. Yay, here we go. mast is finished, except for the shrouds. We're gonna knock those out here real quick in just a minute, but yeah, just gonna show you guys what we got going on here. Started at the top, halyard lock, and yes, I'm missing one rivet because I ran out of rivets with my short rivets, so not a problem. I'll pick up one, throw that in there. But yeah, so we got the halyard lock in, got the halyard trimmed and crimped to the right size. This is the external trapeze adjuster, spinnaker halyard, and so they come with a torque screw for up here, and then I rivet there just because the crew's hanging off of it, and yeah, just for a good peace of mind. And then so here you can see the trap adjuster. So the spinnaker halyard goes through here, and there's a little stop ball down there at the knot where the kite is. So when the kite comes up, it hits this guy here, and it tensions up to here, and it changes the geometry for the trapeze wire. So right now, it's hanging off of this tang, and then when it loads up, it'll be hanging off of this upper wire. So yep, that's about it. Without actually having it rigged up, this is how I can explain it. And then let's see here, jib halyard. So there's the sheave box, Torx head there, rivet there, because I put in this block for the topping lift, and then the topping lift just goes through a little hole there, keeping everything simple. And then if you guys notice when I was putting the sheaves in, it's probably hard telling in the time lapse, but I lubed all the bearings on the sheaves before I put them in, as well as everything got tough gelled. So yep, so here's that shackle for the trap wires, and then I put millionaire's tape over the top of the shackle pin so it doesn't bang up the side of the mast as much, and also so hopefully it keeps it. Got the spreaders on, that was the last little bit you just saw. And so when I was just doing my measurements, so kind of like our base setting right now that we're running with is 16 inches from the mast wall to where the shroud goes in, and then I run a string from where the shrouds go, and then I measure from here to the back of the mast, and for us we're going at 6.5 inches. So it depends on the conditions, your crew weight, yeah, so it's a whole bunch of things, but yep. And then I also something that I did is I lubed up the adjusters here with Tef Gel. I highly recommend that because you adjust them and they don't touch them for a long time, and then when you want to adjust them, this is aluminum, this is stainless, I think there's probably a bronze bushing or something in there, but yeah, so they have a tendency to get corroded, so everything got Tef Gel. My hands are nice and sticky, but it's better to have it that way. Same thing, I Tef Gelled all these screws up. So continuing down, yep, this is the little ball that goes for the halyard. I'll go there for right now. This is our water rat pole launcher. This is one that I've had for a couple years, so I just refinished it. That's why it looks a little bit UV'd out, but there's nothing wrong with it. I just had it as a spare, and then I also just put on this carbon cover over the top that just keeps your jib sheets from snagging on the top of the ram track. And obviously you saw the ram track, that was a pain in the butt to get in for some reason. Usually I'm used to doing it by myself and it doesn't take as long, and for some reason it just was just a pain in the butt for Mike and I to get in together, but we eventually figured it out. And then turn the mast sideways, you can see the beautiful trap adjusters, and yeah, trap adjusters. You can see these are the trap handles, and then one little detail is you can't see really, but I drilled a hole right here through this rubber and plastic, and that's where we tie the jib sheets in, so that you always have the jib sheet out there, so in case you drop it, it's just right there. And yeah, so you got a sliding splice, so you can see the line goes in there, comes out there, and that way you've kind of got a micro adjuster if need be to fine tune, especially since these are brand new. Even though this is SK99 heat set Dyneema, it's still gonna creep a bit. Yeah, and then you can see there's the main halyard as well. My shackle is coming undone, can't do that one handed, but there's the stop ball. that locks in there, and those are custom that I make. I basically cut down swage fittings and machine them to the right size and chamfer them and everything, and then swage them on. Yep, spin halyard. There's our spin halyard sheave, and then you can see the cool exit, and it looks like it's not rubbing on anything, so got that. Down here we've got our eye straps for the vang, and we've got the through deck block there for the main halyard, and then I just have a turning block, boom, right there. And this is where the topping lift comes out. Jib halyard, same thing on the other side right there. So I just have everything tied up, so it's all ready to go. So yep, built some shrouds up real quick and head stay, and this thing is done and ready to go into the boat. So stoked. And the boat's right there waiting patiently for its new mast. All right, shrouds, here we come. All right, got the shrouds built up, and now our shroud stays, they're all built up, and so now, get you guys seasick here, I'm gonna go ahead and put them on the rig here, and then I'm gonna put the mast in the boat. Stoked. Mast is in. It fits. No, super stoked. So now I just got to go through all the systems and get the whole boat calibrated. So thanks for watching this mast build episode, and then next thing will be putting this thing back together, getting it all calibrated, and doing a few more jobs on it. But thanks for watching. And be sure to hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. And once again, appreciate your comments, and appreciate people watching. All right, thanks a lot. Have a good one. Rogue Rigger out.